Name is Justine Marie Sarabia Baroy, and I am going to report about the medieval views on abnormality. And I am the second reporter for this topic, and I will be discussing psychic epidemics. So the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. So, when Christianity became popular in Europe, psychopathology was associated with to the forces of evil. When the Greeks lost their influence in emphasizing reasons and science, madness was once again attributed to supernatural forces and was being thought to be a consequence of a battle between good and evil for the possession of an individual soul. So in the Middle Ages, the French heroine Joan of Arc was believed to be a visionary, for she claimed that she heard the voice of God commanding her to lead the French troop. During the Renaissance, mental illnesses continued to be viewed as a result of demonic possessions, and witches who were believed to be possessed or in league with the devil were held responsible for a variety of ideas. So, in the Middle Ages and in the Renaissance, as explained by the previous reporter din naman, na there are beliefs na ina-attribute yung mental illness sa supernatural forces, or it was being thought to be a consequence of a battle between good or evil for the possession of a person's soul. So, psychic epidemics. Psychic epidemics are also called um, group hysteria or mass madness, where people display similar symptoms and false belief that a phenomenon or it is a phenomenon where large numbers of people engage in unusual behaviors that appear to have a psychological origin. So, ang psychic epidemics, tinatawag din siyang um, mad, mass madness or group hysteria, na kung saan pare-pareha yung symptoms na nararamdaman or ipinapakita ng mga taong involved sa ganong phenomenon, and they have these false beliefs na kumbaga naniniwala sila sa isang bagay na um, yun nga, wala naman siyang katotohanan, and they they engage in unusual behaviors. So, yon ang meaning ng psychic epidemics. So during the Middle Ages, reports of dance frenzies or manias were frequent. So Peter of Herentals, a monk who described a rash of dance frenzies that broke out over a 4-month period in 1374 in Germany, said, I quote, "Both men and women were abused by the devil to such a degree that they danced in their homes, the churches, and in the streets, holding each other's hands and leaping in the air. While they danced, they called out the names of demons such as Friskies and others, but they were unaware of this, nor did they pay attention to modesty, even though people watched them. At the end of the day, they felt such pains in the chest, that is, their friends did not tie linen clothes tightly around their waists. They cried out like madmen that they were dying." So, um, one example, or like one recorded event of dance frenzies or um, mania that happened from before is called the Saint Vitus dance. So in a monk danced himself to death during the feast of Saint Vitus in Schaffhausen in 1428. And in 1518, another recorded event happened, that an epidemic of uncontrolled dance frenzy happened at the chapel of Saint Vitus again, at Hohenstein near Zabern. According to one account, more than 400 people danced during the 4 weeks that the frenzy lasted. So that is why it is called the Saint Vitus dance, kasi nga sa chapel siya ni Saint Vitus nangyayari, and people, they were, yun na nga, they were dancing in the streets, they were acting like madmen, na people are saying na parang sinapian daw sila ng um, devils or ng demons. Ganon. The next one is lycanthropy. So lycanthropy is an unusual belief or delusion in which the patient thinks that he or she has been transformed into an animal. So in rare cases, the patient believes that one person has been transformed into an animal. So yun na nga, isa siyang false belief na nangyayari din siya before, na yung isang tao naniniwala siya na siya ay possessed by spirit of wolves or any other animals. And yung behavior na pinapakita nila is parang sa animal na kung ano animal yung pinaniniwalaan nila na nag-possess sa kanila. So there was this uh, text entitled The Werewolf Renaissance. So all the werewolves were seemingly existed or have seemingly existed in stories in nearly every civilization. Carolyn Walker Bynum marks the 12th century as a moment of particular werewolf renaissance, as many significant changes in economy, society, and culture were happening at that time, with colonial wars and missionary activities that brought European Christians into contact with radically different Moors. As Lisa Lampert Weissig writes, these werewolves differ markedly from Greek and Roman depictions of vicious, cruel, bestial figures. They are, in contrast, sympathetic humans trapped in animals' bodies. Lampert-Weissig also notes that much of this seeming explosion of werewolf literature trends with Norman expansion, as both French writings on the figure of the werewolf are spread to the British Isles, and England further attempts to differentiate them from the British neighbors. So yun na nga, na-incorporate na din yung lycanthropy sa writings and sa literature ng mga tao noon, and it still exists naman today kasi nangyayari talaga siya na there are people who believe na sinapian sila ng spirit ng wolves and ng other animals. So the last one is called tarantism. So tarantism is a phenomenon similar to the Saint Vitus dance that was noted in Italy during the 14th century and became prominent in the 17th century. People uncontrollably danced wildly in the streets because of the pain they felt, which was caused by the bite of a tarantula. So many people interpreted these as a result of possession by the devil, and have been remnants of the ancient rituals that people perform to worship the Greek god Dionysus. So, yung mga tao before, dahil kinagat sila ng tarantula, they felt yung parang itch lang siya, and then it escalated into pains hanggang sa yung mga tao, they uncontrollably danced wildly in the streets, na katulad din siya ng Saint Vitus dance, na parang yun na nga sinasabi ng ibang tao na nakakakita na parang sinapian daw sila ng devils, or baka remnants yun ng ancient rituals na perform ng mga tao to worship the Greek god Dionysus. So those are the um, reported dance frenzies or manias na nangyari during the Middle Ages. So, in the modern times. So, in the modern times, we can still see episodes of psychic epidemics. So, on February 8, 1991, so parang recent event lang siya, no? So, students and teachers in a high school in Rhode Island caused a great deal of commotion when they started um, hyperventilating, experiencing stomach aches, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and they also felt that their eyes stung after smelling noxious fumes from the ventilation system. So the first person to detect these fumes, a 14-year-old girl, fell to the floor, crying and saying that her stomach hurt and her eyes stung. Other students and the teachers in that room then began to experience symptoms. They were moved into the hallway with a great deal of commotion. Soon, students and teachers from adjacent rooms who could see clearly into the hallway began to experience symptoms. So eventually, 21 people, a total of 21 people, there are 17 students and 4 teachers, were admitted to the local hospital emergency room. It was then concluded that the outbreak was a case of mass hysteria prompted by the fear of chemical warfare during the Persian Gulf. So, ang totoo nangyari, wala pala talagang fumes galing sa ventilation system. Parang, ano lang siya, it was prompted by the fear of chemical warfare kasi nga, during the Persian Gulf War, parang yung natatakot pa din yung mga tao na magkaroon na naman ng outbreak. Kumbaga, kasi nga takot sila dun sa chemical warfare na nangyari nung Persian Gulf War. So, I remember na there is also an event in my previous school when I was still in junior high school na um, parang psychic epidemic din siya. Parang mas ano din siya, hysteria din siya kasi before, we're given yung tablets, yung iron tablets. It was given to girls like all of the girls in school, binibigyan ng iron tablets na yon. And then one afternoon while I was distributing, because I was tasked to distribute it to my classmates, I was distributing the tablets to them because we drink it every day. And then I record, parang may checklist ako kung sino yung nakainom, sino yung hindi. Tapos, there was a commotion that happened in the senior high school like department because they're saying na there are there are girls daw na they felt dizzy, yung iba they fell unconscious talaga, and others were experiencing stomach aches and everything kasi nga daw ininom yung tablets. So I stopped distributing the iron tablets to my classmates kasi baka madamay din kami. Eventually, dinala sila sa local health unit ng mga teachers. Dinala sila doon, and eventually it was found out na may isang student lang pala na hindi siya nakakain, tapos uminom siya ng iron tablet na yon. Tapos parang sumakit yung tiyan niya, tapos nung nakita siya ng kaklase niya din na uminom din ng tablet, parang naka-feel din siya ng pananakit ng tiyan niya. Tapos hanggang sa dumami na yung mga students kasi nung nalaman nila na sumakit yung tiyan ng iba, na sumakit yung ulo, na nahimatay yung iba, nahimatay din yung iba. Parang, yun nga, effect lang siya ng, kasi nakita nila sa iba na gano'n nangyari, kaya naka-feel din sila ng ganong symptoms. So, I think it is an example of mass hysteria din, or ng psychic epidemic that experience, na-experience ko na yon. In the present times, psychic epidemics are no longer viewed as a result of spirit possessions or the bite of a tarantula, or a possession of um, animal spirits. Instead, psychologists attempt to understand them using research from social psychology about the influence of others on individuals' self-perceptions. Kasi ngayon, hindi naman siya pinaniniwalaan na if psychic epidemics happen, parang may sinapian siya sinapian sila ng devils or ng demons, or there are still happenings na ganun yung ang reason, pero psychologists attempt to understand these epidemics using research from social psychology kasi 'di ba we have different theories, we have different um, ideas kung bakit ang isang tao parang nahahawa niya or nahahawa ng actions niya yung iba. And kumbaga, we are all influenced by others as well as others are influenced by us. So I think this ends my psychic epidemics. These are my references. Again, I am Justine Marie Sarabia Baroy. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have understood my report. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me directly in any way that you want. And that's all, I guess. Thank you and have a good day.